Do, do, do.
Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about the feeling like it's gonna work versus the feeling like it's not gonna work, especially when posting. And I have found like if I don't feel it's gonna work, then I could like keep doing that and like it doesn't ever work. But if I
Yes,
do
yes.
feel, yeah,
For
if
people
I,
jumping in right now, we were in the middle of a conversation and hit play. So,
yeah,
welcome to What It Is to Be Human. And we've got Lori and Beck here with me. And so we were talking while we were waiting to start, we started talking about what it is energetically to post with like, you know how certain times on social media you'll post something and it works, like people respond to it, there's some virility there. And other times you post something and it's just crickets. That's what we're talking about. So go ahead. Take it. Take it, Lori.
yeah. So I have been in that where it's like, if I don't feel it's going to work, and this goes for my long posts, like my engagement questions actually seem to be a little different because it's not so much of if I feel it's going to work. Like sometimes I'll think a question's going to do really well and it's crickets, and other times I think, my audience doesn't care about that, and I get like 100 comments or going back and forth, and so I've noticed it more with the long post where there's a CTA on the end versus, oh, I just want to get engagement. And I feel like if I'm not in the mood, then the post isn't doing what I want it to do, whether that's get people to book a call or come to my event or like comment, like raise their hand. Like if I don't feel that the post is going to work when I post it, I find it doesn't work. But if I feel that it's going to work, it does. But for me, the struggle has been changing the feeling when I'm in that sitting down and writing posts, so that if I'm like in the it's not working mode, getting out of that and moving into it's working mode. Um, I have found that to be super difficult. It's like either I'm in the mood or I'm not. And
Right.
yeah,
So back, I was just, and then I got to you saying, so what for you is an instant way to change your mood?
Um,
Because I think the answer isn't to think, oh, this isn't working, I'm not going to do it today, and then you abandon and don't do it. That's the wrong move. But we don't want to push ourselves. There's a fine line between pushing yourself into that whole, make it happen energy, which is too contracted to work anyway. So that's truth. You're not wrong that when it's not feeling, it doesn't. Although there's been times when I post something and I have no thought. I try not to think, is it going to work or not? I try not to even have that thought. I just go, this is what I'm doing. And I post as much as I can with the passion. If there's not as much passion, I've noticed, yeah, maybe it sometimes affects it, but sometimes no. Sometimes something I've just gone posted and all of a sudden it gets a lot of traction. So I think there's a lot of moving pieces. So that's what I was asking you, Beck, what you do, because I think the feeling is easier to adjust than you don't want to not post just because you're not in the mood.
yeah. Um, I do a few different things. It just depends on the day, but usually it involves getting up and moving, whether it's putting on a song and dancing or humming, even because humming, raises your vibrational level. Sometimes I'll even get up and like energetically check, like, okay, what level am I at? And then I'll do some of that. And then I'll check my level again and I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to post now.
So yeah, that's the shortcut, right? Is to say, let me adjust my mood. And then anything I post has got a better chance than not of doing well because you put the right energy behind it. Intention matters, energy matters, your emotional state matters, the algorithm matters. Like it isn't one thing. So it's a lot of it is so much out of our control. That's why I say release the control element. Release the release the need to know if it's going to work or not, because that you can't know. You cannot know. Even with all my tools, my pendulum, my cards, I can't know. I mean, it's going to be, maybe I could give a really good educated guess, but sometimes that algorithm will kick in
Yeah.
and you don't understand why.
And
And it could
sometimes
be a
maybe
timing issue. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
I'm
was going
sorry.
to say, and sometimes it may be that post that you're thinking it's not going to work, but the reason you're writing is because of that one person that needs to hear it that way.
hmm Yeah, and it could be the one person saw it that is all hook, line, and sinker, and you're like thinking it didn't work, but yeah, but this one person then reached out to me the next day, so you're not realizing it's because of the post that you made. Those are why we really do market to lurkers, guys. Assume most of your people are lurking,
Mhm.
and your whole world will change, because when you assume people are lurking and loving picking up what you're putting down, and you just won't know about it for months, sometimes that's the truth. I can't tell you the amount of people who have told me, I've been watching you for years. They say years. I mean, have I ever had somebody say months? Yes, but maybe two. Like I hear years. I was
Yeah.
watching it for years,
Mhm.
and I finally was in a position that I could work with you. That had nothing to do with me. But
Yeah.
if I hadn't been doing what I was doing for all those years, they would not have, there would not be that breadcrumb path. So be in it for the long run and not the immediate gratification. Be in it for the, the joy of what you're doing.
Right.
And that's the joy state you want to be in when you're creating all that content for the lurkers. Like how they say, make a live for the replay. Make a post for the lurkers. Like that way you just take all that energy that you're spending trying to figure out if it's good or not, and you just get rid of
Mhm.
it. Like you release it. You just go, it's okay. Because you know what? I can't know that part, and I don't need to know that part. All the universe needs from me is what I call the raw material. What's coming from my heart and soul.
Yeah.
I'm putting out there, and then I release it into the wind, because you know what? Yeah. Now, are there some hacks? Yes. Like one trick that is really works over and over and over again is to think of the one person you're trying to call in. Like literally, I see people lurking on me now that I've learned this,
Mhm.
that people lurk because they've come out. And I'm like, oh, I see your name. I just didn't know who you were, right? Sometimes. So I can see some names sometimes appear a couple times. And then I'll think, I might go look at their profile and see what they're doing. And I'm like, I do think I could help them. So I, let it go and just say, okay, let's say her name was Vera in my mind. I even write the post, Vera, blah, 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 blah. Then I get rid of the name Vera and I send it out.
Yeah.
And do you know how many times that the Vera will come up and go, oh my God, you wrote that but you know what happens? Other people will say, you wrote that specifically for me, didn't you? And I'm like, no, not for you, but someone else. And it's so interesting. That's one of those, that's energy, right? That's the energy work, that being human, we're all connected in this morphogenetic field, or fields, it's plural. We are in many morphogenetic fields. And if that person is also in the same, we call it the vibe, right? The same vibe or
Mhm.
whatever, and they're reading it and they're getting it and they know that intention was set up for you, well, that's when the quantum entanglement pieces start to work in the ether. Like we can't see that or understand that, nor can we control it. We can only do our part. And so I just encourage everyone to just do what you can in the best possible joyous spirit you can muster, and then let it go. Like don't try to overthink it, or think that you're missing, oh, I'm going to write it again, but nobody's reached out yet, so they probably won't to this either. That's the wrong energy to place on it.
Yeah.
So you do better to place zero energy into it than that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've
Neutral energy
done
is
a
better
ton of
than,
posts from the spaghetti place and it hasn't worked ever. So yeah, I've done a lot of posts from the energy if it's not working. So,
the
but
energy of the spaghetti.
yeah, I know how that is. The other thing I wanted to say as you were talking is I know you mentioned like thinking about a specific person and like writing a post to them. I have
Mhm.
never found that to work for me. I find if I think about a specific person, then the post doesn't work. Whereas if I don't want to say general, because I can actually be very specific, but as long as I'm not thinking of somebody specific, it actually works better. And the lurkers come out of my audience, or maybe even
Oh,
people I know. It's like
interesting.
I didn't even, or like somebody I might even know, I'm like, I didn't know you were even interested in that post. Or like, I don't know them and they come out of the woodwork. So it's like, I
You
don't,
can't know what
yeah.
people, there's so many different, everyone's so multidimensional. You can't know. Like, for example, the side hustle business that I know we all love to do is one of those things. I happen to be an admin in a group, so I see from the back end people coming in that are connected to you guys, but you don't know that they'd be interested, so you haven't brought it up to them or talked to them about it. They found out about someone else. But I see because Facebook gives you the mutual friends. So there's
Oh,
a lot of times there's people that that you guys know that you don't know would have been
mm,
interested in this, and they came in with someone else, and it's so interesting. Like there's groups that you guys both belong to. I just happen to know because I'm in the background, so I see it, and I'm like, I mean, the person who made the post is the winner that gets the person, right? And if you don't make the post, then they don't know, and you would be shocked to see the people who are coming in that you probably thought would never in a million years, because right now it's people of different mindsets, different interests, different
mhm.
there's no common theme other than people are looking for opportunity. And you can't pre-know, well, she's not looking for opportunity. She's fine. Like, see,
Yeah.
that's all ego bullshit. That's where your ego is lying to
Mhm.
you, trying to tell you that it knows everything when it literally does not. It cannot. And so
Yeah.
you just don't want to use it as your North Star. Your ego is not the thing that's going to bring you joy. It will bring you rules that made up, that feel true, so that it can be right. See, I knew that wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to work because I didn't feel right, and it didn't work. See, I was right. Now your ego's super happy because you were right. That's all the ego wants, is to be right.
Yeah.
Even if it means like you suck or something's bad, it's going to be like, see, told you. That's ego.
Yeah.
Soul never does that to you. Soul never is going to condemn you for things you did or didn't do.
Right.
It's always going to have grace. It's always going to have, an affirming feeling. And so it's the problem that I find for most being human, right? Is our egos are so loud and our soul is so soft. Like you've heard the veil, they call it like, that invisible, you know, veil of like, we can't sometimes hear what's on the other side. Like people who, I mean, this goes into belief systems. So, I don't want to sidetrack this, but like, there's people that will say like all in, like even your relatives who've passed on, they're right here. They're right here. They're just like in a different dimension. They're not disappeared. They're just disappeared from your five human senses. And when you start to develop your other senses, you can start to feel them.
Yeah,
And that's true. Your
well,
ego can't do that. Your ego cannot do that. But your soul absolutely can and does connect with all that is, which is way more than you can possibly know as a human. We're very it's and I don't know, like this is the philosophy I find entertaining and amusing and interesting and fascinating, and I'm all consumed with it. But like I realize other people get really bored with it. But like, we can't, I mean, can we hack into those higher levels of consciousness, even as a human? And if we can't, how, right? And what do I need to think and feel and believe to make it be so? Like that's the work. That's what I think of freedom coding, right? Like I look at human design charts and astrology and the gene keys and look at all these tools, and I'll use tarot or the pendulum or just my good old fashioned intuition, right? And be very quiet, go into meditation. And you'd be surprised how much information you can pick up. But sometimes you are picking up on things that aren't true yet in the field, like they're not materialized yet. So, and then that's when the ego will start to say, see, it's not working. And it's like, no, what if actually everything you were doing right now is working, but there was a timestamp on it? And like a grenade, right? And you launched it with every action you're taking, you launched it, but it's not going to explode until 3 months from now. But if you never yank it and do it, you won't have anything explode 3 months from now.
That's a good visual.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's going to go off. You just don't know when.
Right.
Like if there was some time, right? So if you can play that game with yourself, then it suddenly makes everything you feel inclined to do worth doing.
Yeah.
If you don't feel inclined to do it, I'm with you, Lori. If you're feeling like, no, I don't want to, and blah, 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 then don't. You know, that's okay. Yeah. But if you're like, well, I feel like I would need to write a post because, you know, that's not a bad thing. The need part, it's okay to feel like you need to do something. It's just that you'll hear the more guru people get, the more they're like, no, it just flows in like magic. And it does, but only after a point when you've practiced enough to release the ego attachment. That's what you're really practicing. In the interim, you're getting better at posts. You know, you are getting better technically at writing, you know, making things more compelling, putting more emotion into it, and being more relevant to your offers. So you're getting better as a poster, but over time. So that's an aspect to it. But also just doing it without the ego attachment is huge. It's everything. It's why I've been in business for 11 years. If my ego would have shut this shit down a long time ago, if I was only going by what I think, you know, sometimes I'm like, Jenny, don't believe everything you think. It is just not true. You know, everything you think is just everything you think. That's all it is.
Yes.
So I'm encouraging everyone to get into action, regardless of how you always are thinking about it. Yes, go into the feeling, but the feeling, you are in control of the feeling.
Yeah.
You can go from the pits of hell to the heights of heaven if you're masterful with managing your own emotional bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the work I help people with. You know, because when you feel like you don't have any control over your emotions, then you're just then you're just learning. That's the baby steps into, oh no, I can control my emotions. Not control them in a way like, okay, I want to cry, but don't cry. Don't cry. Not that controlling. I'm talking about like, you can control it by letting yourself cry.
Mm-hmm.
Get it over and out. And then the emotion's not in you anymore. And then you feel like, oh, I can do anything. I feel so free. I feel like I can do stuff now, right? I'm gonna
Yeah.
shut up. See, I get on rants.
Yeah. I think the belief system does impact my emotions though. Like if I don't believe that I'm going to be able to change things, then I can get into like that hopelessness and that like if I don't think it's possible for me to do the thing, like if I feel it's possible for me to do the thing, then I feel really good.
Yeah, but then that's a gap for you to figure out how to fill. How can I learn to go from feeling like I have no control over my emotional, you know, state into controlling it? There's some information in that little gap where you can learn that, because I learned it. I wasn't born with the ability. I learned it.
Yeah, it's
And
funny. I had this visual just pop in when she said that, of like this little kid sitting down at a piano and they try it and they're like, oh, I suck at that. And they never try again. They never become this great person that people love to listen to play the
I
piano.
was that kid. I'm telling you, my mom would try to teach me piano, and she'd be like doing all kinds of fancy stuff on the piano,
So maybe
playing
you were
ragtime. And I thought, oh, that looks like fun. I want to do it. So she was teaching me how to play, and everything I did sounded awful and was wrong and I was like, this is hard. It sounded, and I literally gave up after like 2 lessons. I was like, nope, I can't do it. I mean, I was determined I was like trying to explain to her, I can't do it. It doesn't sound good. She's like, well, you need to practice. I'm like, it won't matter how much I practice. It's not working, right? When I was like 7.
yeah.
So there's
So
a whole
you
bunch
were
of
the
stuff
little
I
kid
could have.
I envisioned.
That was me. And being a big brat about it. And you know what? I got to be right. Yay me. I don't
Yeah,
play
you
piano. I don't know how. Yay, I get to be right. She sucks at piano. Like
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You don't actually win when you're right. right? Being right sucks.
Yeah.
Like, don't be right. Release the need to be right. And I mean, as a projector, for sure, like in human design, I think a lot of projectors, especially, but it could be everybody, but we definitely have that um, thing where we're always feeling the judgments because we judge harsh. And we judge because we're learning to, as little kids, we're judging because we're learning to discern.
Hmm.
Like, you can't, if you can't judge appropriately, then you can't discern appropriately. But
Yeah.
when I was younger, that looked real, it felt really hard and awful. I used to do a lot of self-loathing and judgment harshly against myself. I was judging myself against everyone else. And then I learned now as a really super old adult, I'm like, oh, see, I'm really good at discerning because I can see the difference in even the smallest little thing.
Yeah.
And little tweaks make huge differences. And people are not, the way you think doesn't mean it's true. It just means that's what you're thinking. That's all it
I
means.
guess.
So, Lloyd, there's a little bit there you could let go of. You could just
Yeah.
release attachment to being right.
I
You don't
think
have to be
the
right.
thing about being right is something that I have had so many people in my life that have been those hardcore, they have to be right about everything, that I can let go of that pretty quickly. Like, I can be like, okay, I don't
Yeah,
have
I've been wrong. I've been proven
I don't
wrong.
have,
I've been told I was
well, no,
wrong so
well,
many times.
like, even when I know I'm right, I still don't have to prove it. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to let you believe that this is green, but I know it's brown. But okay, yeah, it's
Right.
green.
Whatever you want. Yeah, just to
Yeah,
make the peace.
some
Isn't that
people have to
interesting?
be right no matter what. And no matter, you can have 10 people sitting there telling them they're wrong and they just have to fight their fight. And it's so like, it's
Yeah.
so them, it's who they are. And yeah, for some reason, I've had a lot of those people in my life.
Well, and we don't know why. We don't know what the benefit is all the time for those fighty people. Like, but I
Well, I
know, but I do
kind of
know there's
know.
something.
I kind of
What?
know. So I kind of
Yeah.
like to add in there that fighting and the like knowing you're right. Like I've been in scenarios where I was right, like everybody around me was wrong. And I'm like, I should have been that person who was just saying that I'm right, even though like my whole entire circles, they're telling me I'm wrong. Like I'm like, I should have been the person who just insisted I was right because I was right and they were wrong. And the only reason I didn't see it is because I had all these people telling me I was wrong. That's when I got into the networking outside of my circles because, not like you're surrounded by people, but they might not be the people that understand your perspective or where you're coming from. So I think
Yeah.
being stubborn and insisting you're right, like maybe you don't even want to tell them that you're right, but internally you want to be like, these people are all wrong. Like they are, because, and this is like as a leader, as somebody who helps people with their mindset, like a whole bunch of people could be wrong about something and I'm right, but that's also why they need to buy from me, why they need to come from me and you know, listen to me like on the leadership. Like
Yes.
you were talking about the not being in that zone of it's not working because like that's not helping me. But like people are coming to me because like they have some messed up mindset about networking. They probably don't even realize what it is. So
Right.
I have to be like, yes, I'm right, so that I can help people. So that's like another piece of it.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying being wrong is the way to go. Just
No.
releasing the desire, the attachment to having to be right. Yes, sometimes you're going to be right. I mean, sometimes the post you write isn't going to work, and you knew it the minute you wrote it. But I'm just saying, over time, it just adds to the collection, the body of work that lurkers will see, and it's not a bad thing. It just adds. If you were like, well, the only times, let's say that I struck gold with a post 3 days out of 30 days, right? 3 days in a month, I wrote something that actually got some traction, and I didn't write but only those 3 posts. It's going to look really inconsistent and weak to lurkers because they're looking every day And that means that you've had weeks go by where you wrote nothing. So they wonder, where are you when they don't see you? And they move on to other people. So it's like there's something about being consistent, that the payback may not be in the moment of that post, but it can be later that you see the benefit. Which is why I'm going to always tell everyone I work with, like, please be consistent. People need you, your energy field needs you to be consistent, and you, for yourself, and people need to see consistency in you in order to trust you, or else they simply don't. They don't know what you're doing. They don't know where you are. They're like, you've been disappeared for 10 days. Oh, I didn't know you were still coaching. Like, stupid questions like that. I used to get years ago, because I would be more in my, if I was in the mood, I would post. And if I wasn't in the mood, I didn't post. So I know for a fact, because I was told that by a few people. And I was like, yeah, I'm still doing this. What do you mean? Well, I haven't seen you in a couple, it's been a while. I'm like, and I look back, I'm like, it's been like literally 8 days. Like, that's not, in my mind, that's not a big deal. But to them, it was like, where is she? She must have died. I mean, like, what? So people have a weird, right? But if you post, and I'm not saying every day, but I would say every other day, that's called, on social media land today in 2026, that's being consistent. If it's any less than that, you're not being consistent.
Of course, you do want to take off for vacations and things like that, because people don't want to buy I'm a workaholic and have no free time, especially if they're like helping people with the work-life balance part. They don't
Yes, but now with all these automated
take all of it.
tools, you're right, but these automated tools can make my posts go out when I'm not even around. I can schedule posts so it looks like I'm around all the time, And again, there's no one rule. If there is a rule, it's just try to stay as detached from outcomes as possible. That's what makes even a good coach, being unattached to the outcome. Sometimes the outcome that someone gets from my talking to them is nothing that was on my agenda at all. Like, I'm not supposed to even have an agenda when I'm coaching people. It's supposed to be all their agenda. So really learning that was a huge lesson for me, and a huge benefit to how I'm also able to detach from posting and stuff, because I'm able to detach even from a conversation people are having. Sometimes they just zig and zag to a place where I'm like, what are we talking about? And meanwhile, they go, oh my God, that was the best session ever. Thanks. And I'm like, great. Glad I could be here with all the tools I know to do, no matter where the person's going. But the outcome I could not have foreseen, often could not have foreseen. Or I think that we're going for a certain outcome, and then it turns out to be a whole different outcome, which is just as valuable for the person. So that's the only thing I suggest, is just be unattached. That way you mitigate your disappointment levels. You don't get really disappointed when you're unattached. You also don't bear responsibility codependently in a way that, isn't healthy, because it's like, hey, it's not my life, it's their life, right? Like, it's not for me to decide if it was good or bad.
Right.
But you can have a thought about it. And if it's still like a low contracted thought, then the easiest way I know to lift yourself up, like Beck said, like movement, absolutely. Motion is a huge energy changer. Even just to stand up, do this, and sit back down, you'd be surprised. I mean, it doesn't have to be a whole big thing. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, guys. Thanks for dropping in on what it is to be human. And I'm going to put all the description links if you want to find these lovely ladies or myself down below for more. And we'll talk to you next